Why the tortoise has a rough shell. Once upon a time in the animal kingdom, there was a famine and it covered all the lands far and wide. The animals in the kingdom all starved and looked very lean since they had no food to eat. Every animal was skinny except for the birds. The tortoise, ever the cunning one, noticed this and decided to find out from the birds where they got their food. One day, the tortoise met a flock of birds and approached them. He asked them how they remained robust with shining feathers despite the hunger in the land. He said he knew they were eating well and he wanted to know how they got their food. However, the birds were very wary of the tortoise's tricks and refused to disclose their secret. Undeterred, the tortoise continued to plead with the birds. He promised not to play any tricks on them and begged them to reveal their source of feeding. Finally, the birds relented and shared their knowledge. They told him there was a feast held high up in the heavens for anyone who could make it there. Birds could fly into the heavens, so they always made the feast where they ate to their heart's content. The tortoise was intrigued and interested, but realized that he had no wings to fly to this celestial banquet. In a stroke of cleverness, the tortoise proposed a solution. He asked each bird to lend him a feather so that he could attach them to his body and create makeshift wings. The birds agreed, and soon the tortoise had a set of feathered wings in various colors. On the morning of the next day before they departed, the birds asked the tortoise to choose a ceremonial name like they always do, one by which he would be addressed when he reached the heavens. The tortoise thought for a moment and declared, "All of you, this is my ceremonial name." With his feathered wings, he joined the birds to fly to the heavenly feast. Upon arrival, the host of heaven welcomed them and led them to a table laden with a sumptuous banquet. The tortoise then asked their host, "Whose food is this?" Their host responded, "This food is for all of you." However, the tortoise, true to his cunning nation, stepped forward and reminded everyone that his ceremonial name was all of you. He claimed that the food belonged to him alone and proceeded to devour the entire feast. His smooth shell glowed brilliantly after consuming the heavenly delicacies while the hungry birds watched him. The birds were angered by his greed and decided to take back their feathers one after the other, leaving the tortoise wingless. Desperate to return to earth, the tortoise pleaded with one of the birds to deliver a message to his wife. "Tell my wife to bring out the softest materials, beds, and pillows from our home," he instructed. The bird agreed, but altered the message when he arrived at the tortoise's house. Instead, the bird told the tortoise's wife to bring out the strongest and hardest materials. The innocent wife brought out the pots, pans, and other hard materials in their house. Believing that he would land safely, the tortoise leaped from the sky, waiting for a soft landing, but he crashed into the hard materials. His once smooth shell shattered into several pieces. With the help of his neighbor, the snail's sticky fluid, they were able to assemble the tortoise's shell once more. But it wasn't the same as before. It was now rough and ugly. So, to this day, the tortoise bears a broken shell as a reminder of the price of his greed and cunning. The end.